Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hello, hello. Here we are again, taking a look at this extraordinary month coming up, February.
Indeed, extraordinary.
Yes, I'm Carola Eastwood,
And I'm Chetan Parkin.
and here with you from evolutionaryhumandesign.com, our Energies and Opportunities program. This is the complimentary part of it. That is a complimentary broadcast once a month, and all are welcome. So what we're going to be doing as we're together for about an hour, we're going to be taking you through the energies as we see them playing out, both through the astrological matrix and also through the human design wheel from today, the 24th of January, through the end of the month, and then throughout the month of February. So that said, we'll have a quick little announcement. We want to welcome everybody. We're so happy to have you with us. And if you're new to our community, we're delighted to have you. We are this month offering a business success by design training. Dan, do you want to tell us how to?
Yeah, it's a magical training. The people that we've worked with doing this, they've seen huge results in their business as a result. So evolutionaryhumandesign.com is our website. There's a tab for trainings and then business success by design, and you'll find that one. And just read through, see what's involved there. We work very, very closely with you, and absolutely, you can expect results in your business.
Right. This is a very, what we call in the industry, high touch program. In other words, you get a lot of time with us and a lot of one-on-one feedback from us as we meet every other week. So we've got 16 meetings. 8 of those are modules where you're learning, and the other 8 are 90-minute sessions where we coach you and work with you on implementing everything you're learning. So by the time you're complete with the training, you have a whole marketing model for your business or your service that you provide that is unique to you. So do take a look at it. We only produce this once a year, sometimes once every 18 months, and it's happening now. And just a little heads up also that towards the latter part of the month, we're going to be offering our live in-person seminar, which is a love karma clearing, love, relationship, and karma clearing process. It's a deep, deep, deep dive. We produced this last year in Austin, Texas. We've had our students having breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough. So remember to open our emails every now and then. Take a look and see what we're offering, because if it calls to you, then this would be a phenomenal year for you to get going on either of these programs or both.
We've been offering the karma clearing in other parts of the world, and the results we're getting back. People's lives are completely changing. Yeah. Amazing stuff.
We've only done it once here.
We've done it once in America, but I've done it a couple of times in other countries. Yeah. And the feedback I get is really shockingly good.
So come join us, come work with us in person. We'd love to meet you and really support you into that next level. And speaking of the next level.
Right, let's look at this end of the month of January. Yeah?
Yes, let's do that. So I'm saying here we are on Saturday, the 24th, but I'm going to back up a little bit further and go all the way back to January 18th, when we had a new moon, and that new moon at 28 degrees of Capricorn, a very significant degree astrologically. And basically that new moon happened with a stellium. Now this is just a week ago. So we started the year with a lot of new energy coming in, a lot to sort of integrate and bring down to earth. And it's not until probably about the 3rd, even the 4th week of January, that we begin to ground all of that, all those new ideas, all those new possibilities into something that we can form and give it positive and effective expression. So this new moon on the 18th sets off that time when we be able to take a hold of the energies that are present. And as long as we're working with them both internally inside of ourselves and also externally in our life, then make use of those energies to raise our own frequency, raise our own vibration, and also be a catalyst, be a guide for others to step into a higher frequency, a higher awakening. That's essentially, in a nutshell, what these energies are about right here, the week of January 18th, all the way up to today, January 24th. So if we look at today, I have to move the, thank you, wake up. So if we look at today, what we're just one day before the first quarter moon. So we had this new moon that was on the 18th, and that sets the stage for a 30-day cycle. And about a week after that, we have the first quarter moon. First quarter moon this week on Sunday, first quarter moon in Taurus. And essentially what that's saying is, so we have the ideas of the new birth, or the new possibility at the new moon. The first quarter moon shows us what we need to do to really get that in motion, to bring it into form, bring it into expression. But the first quarter moon in Taurus, in a right angle to all of these 5 Aquarius planets, all traveling together. So if you realize, there's only 10 planets that we're looking at, so half of them are in the sign of Aquarius. And for those of you who follow a little bit of astrology, you know that the sign of Aquarius is the sign of a humanitarian. So it may not look like it if you're following the news and watching the S show out there, but but humanity is in a period of catalyzing, coming together, and we will become a one world community. And this is just the very beginning of it. So hang on to your hat. It gets really juicy and really interesting. The other thing that we'll see happening here at the very end of this month and going into February is 2 planets, Saturn and Neptune, leaving the watery sign of Pisces, which is Pisces is about, it's very dreamy. It wants to go into imagination and creativity and meditation. It's not much for action. But when these 2 planets go into Aries, we're going to have a little fire under our butt, and we're going to get into action. And this is happening right away. It's happening first. The planet Neptune goes into Aries on January 26th. And, realizing that this is a slow moving planet, it's going to spend about 12 years there. So we're just at the very beginning of what this new format is, of taking our vision and not just sitting with it and being all gaga about it, but actually putting it into action, taking the vision immediately and into action, into implementation. This is the very beginning. And then by the middle of February, we'll see Saturn's going to join Neptune and just add more of a flavor to this new energy that's forming. Some very positive aspects happening right around this period of time, the last week in January. Over to you.
Well, I'm going to say last week in January, and I'm going to say the whole of the month of February. The key word is vision. What is your vision? And Pluto is sitting in this gateway, the number 41, which is the gateway. It's the start codon in genetics. And basically, we had our Human Design New Year just a few days ago. And it's the Human Design New Year literally happens when the sun enters hexagram number 41. So the 41, not just the sun in there, but also the stellium is in there as well. Mercury, Venus, Mars, they're all in there. And we've just had this new moon. And the new moon is basically challenging us, because the new moon took place in gateway number 60. And 60 is the gateway of limitation. How do we limit ourselves? And how do we kind of put off things that need to be taken care of? How do we kind of blow things off when really this is, if we don't handle them, they're going to sooner or later become a handicap for us. And so this new moon was really saying, get everything in order, get it together, be very clear what's necessary, what's not necessary, but deal with the necessary, get it done, get it handled. And so with this coming of the not just the sun, but also Pluto, this massive energy of transformation in the 41, this literally sets in motion a whole scenario of vision for us. And of course, the whole thing with a vision is not just to hold it, but as Carol says, act on it. The world is changing. We're not going back ever to where we were. The race is on. Things are moving so fast. And we cannot necessarily afford to drop the idea, oh, I just can't deal with it. I can't deal with AI. I can't deal with these things coming into the world. That everything's changing. Everything's up for grabs. And the whole thing is allowing ourselves to tune in on our own behalf. What is our vision for this life? Do we come here just to follow somebody else's idea of what we're supposed to be doing? Or is this something that really wants to get lived out? A lot of times we bring up this word bucket list, as though there are certain things when I'm just about to croak, I'll have done all these things before the end of the story. And I would just say this coming of this time of the vision, holding the vision, recognizing the vision, that basically means the bucket list is no longer on hold. It's basically these things need to get lived out now. And to just see that these things are actually within the realm of possibility for us. They're not something that are way off in the future somewhere. What were the things that we held for us as so important when we were children? Right before all the complications of life set in and before all these musts and shoulds and coulds and all these things that society expects of us, right? We really are in a time of transformation. So I'm just really highlighting this energy around this new moon. Recognize what needs to get done. Look at the whole thing of the moment these things are in place, all of a sudden we can start enacting the vision. We can start seeing, we can start laying out the course for the whole of 2026. What are the Chinese year? It's the Chinese year of the fire horse, right? Horse is an extraordinary creature. They don't ask for much, a little bit of hay or something or other, they'll take you anywhere. And a fire horse, yeah, you better believe there's a lot of energy around this year coming. So there we are.
Are we feeling it?
Well, that's coming in early February, but it's just, you can feel the energy rising for this. The one other thing I'm just going to say before I hand back over to you is, at the moment, the destiny path for humanity is in the channel of community. The 37 and the 40. This is one of the places in the wheel, the human design wheel, where if one thing is on one end of it, whoever's on the other end of it makes up a whole channel. So the destiny path for humanity is in gateway number 37 at the moment, which is all about friendship, family, community. Who's important for you? Who are the familiars in your life? Who are the people that make you laugh? Who are the people that really want to support you in your life? Who do you want to support? That's the key at the moment. Who are the essential people in your life, basically? And we're coming from this place of kind of being standoffish and I'm just going to do it by myself kind of thing. We're moving much more towards this whole essence of interacting, combining other people in our projects, like really finding out who's my team, who are the people that are really on board with me. So this energy goes on all the way through the middle of May. So just be aware of that. Who's around you, who's important to you, who's ready to put their shoulder to the wheel alongside with you.
Who are my people?
There you go.
Yeah, and we see that, of course, in the astrological wheel as well, the same theme. But just to expand on it a little bit, for the past about 6, maybe longer than 6 months, we've had this long-standing aspect of we call it a planet, but Chiron isn't officially a planet, it's a huge asteroid. But it plays such a significant role in the evolution of humanity. So Chiron is the body in space that symbolizes the human process of stepping into a realization of the divine within us. So it's the process of moving our orientation more and more from being identified with the ego and, you know, my own will and what I want, and more identifying with our spirit essence, which is my truth, and living more and more from that truth. Okay, so that's Chiron in general. So what we've had for this past many months is the planet Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion and growth, new learning, in the sign of Cancer. And Cancer is all about home and family. So for the past 6 months, a lot of the challenge has been around how can I, you know, how can I have a family life that's fulfilling? Are we just, you know, fraud? Are we just, you know, two people living together? Maybe we're husband and wife, maybe we're same-sex couple, whatever, but we're making a life together. And are we both just working ourselves to death just to pay the mortgage, just to pay the bill? You know, we're human doings instead of human beings. And what's happening is that we're coming into a time when this is no longer possible. It's no longer sustainable. We're having a wake-up call, a big wake-up call. And that wake-up call is about, well, wait a minute, what really matters? What, you know, when I look at what my values are, I mean, yes, it's great to make a good living and have a nice place to live and all this kind of stuff, but am I sacrificing my well-being? Am I sacrificing my health? Am I sacrificing the things that mean the most to me in life, the people I love? So that's been the question. And it's been playing out on the world stage, as you all know, if you're following the news at all. But it's also been playing out in our individual lives, ourselves, you know, asking this question, how can I have a quality of life and meaningful time with the people who, you know, mean the most to me in life, and yet still, you know, have a career, have the work that I do, and have that all be in balance? Well, so that question has been, in the first phase of that question, the first 6 months of it, we've been really just kind of up against it, like seeing the problem. Here's the issue, right? Here's the problem. Now, with the 3740 activated in human design, and astrologically, that's the North Node at about 10 degrees of Pisces, South Node in Virgo. But what we're seeing now is that it's time. It's time to start finding those solutions. It's time to start looking at the kind of challenges that we're having and asking the questions, the really quintessential questions about life, about what has meaning, about what has value, about what's really important to us. And we may have all been experiencing some degree of financial challenges during this time when everything's been so fraught. But what that's doing is it's causing us to go inside and really look for solutions, to find solutions. And what we're seeing here at this full moon, February 1st, moon in Leo, opposite the sun in Aquarius, is we're finding creative ways, creative solutions to address these financial challenges, but also to find new pathways forward for ourselves. So this big grouping of planets, this stellium, lasts through mid-February, and it gets highlighted really powerfully by this full moon. So this long-standing kind of conflict, where we're seeking solutions to the stress of maintaining our interdependence and independence, at the same time caring for the needs of our own self, our own needs, and the needs of the people we love, needs of our family. So that is the big question of the day. This full moon on the 1st of February brings that question into full expression so that we get answers.
So yes, as we enter into the merry month of February, literally the first thing is this full moon. And it happens in the hexagram number 33, which is the gateway of retreat, going back, resolving things, letting whatever's happened to you percolate so you get to a resolution of some sort. And it happens in the 6th line. And the sixth line is very significant always because it basically means you wrap up the whole story. Whatever it is that's been going on, it's come to an end. It's a done deal. Let go. Let it go. Let it dissipate into the background now, right? Whatever the experience has been, it's complete, it's wrapped up. And the full moon is just saying that. Let it go. Get back into the next moment, the one that follows that, the one after that, moment to moment to moment, right? So all of us have this real encouragement to just drop whatever the complications may have been, these difficulties of one sort or another. Because as I say, this month of February is all about the vision. It's about recognizing the vision and going for it. So again, because Pluto's in the 41, we're going to have all these other planets touching base in gateway number 30 and opening up this channel of the vision. What are the experiences that we're really calling into our life at this time? So very, very powerful full moon. At the same time, within days, we have the 1949 between Mars and Mercury and Venus. This is the channel of sensitivity. This is the channel that marks out, I could say, sheep from goats, like who belongs, who doesn't, who really needs to feel connected, who are you going to draw into your circle, who are the ones that are really important for you, which is a carry on. It kind of echoes that channel of 3740 that I was talking about, this channel of community. Who are my people? Who are the ones that are really with me here? And in a sense, the tribal side of things, when we draw people into our circle, when we combine our efforts together, amazing things can happen. What I'm seeing more and more about this hexagram number 49, which traditionally has been called revolution, I'm beginning to call it more and more the rebel. Right? Revolution basically means something goes around. It goes back around, comes back around. And you can see wherever there's been a revolution in the world, we go back to the same basics. Russia, they have a new Tsar, Mr. Putin. You know, it's like nothing changes there.
There's no evolution.
That's right. You just need to take the letter R off the front of it, or, you know, just recognize that, yes, we recognize things that don't fit. Be the rebel. That means basically you're aware of what's going on, but you don't necessarily subscribe to a program. You don't need to join a mob. You don't need to join something or other. You literally hold the conscious awareness of allowing things to change in a right way, right? What is it that affects you personally, right? Deeply enough to be involved in it. And that is the stance of the rebel. We're all in this thing. Ultimately, yes, we can combine our energies with each other. But in the end, we have to find out who we are, what's really important to us as an individual. So then on the 3rd of the month, Mercury goes into the 30, Pluto's in the 41, and Venus is in the 30 as well. So we have, for the first 10 days of the month, we have this channel of 30, 31, 30, 40, 41, 30. This channel of the vision, recognizing the vision, calling the vision in. Pluto literally basically says in this 41, anything's possible now. We're done with what happened before. You know, there's a new evolution is possible now. We're starting into something totally different. Mercury is all about what are the communications that we put out? How do we connect into our world? Venus, who do we draw to? Who are the people that are really important to us? What is it that we really wish for? The 30th gate is the gate in the I Ching, traditionally is called the clinging fire. The clinging fire. What are those things in our lives that just we cannot shake off? It's the gate of desires. What are those things we have to have in our life? And then when we look really closely to see, really, is that so important to us that we have to have it? Okay, if we're going to have it, let's do it. Let's go into it. Let's do it. Just do it. 100%. And the thing of it is, with a clinging fire, the moment you go into something with totality, you burn through it. You come out, you do a puja, you do a fire ceremony, you come out the other side of it, done. Don't need to do that again, right? Complete. And so this is really a time, such a transformation happening in the world, right? What is our vision within all of this, right? We've thrown off the things that we can't handle. We've dealt with the things that we can handle. We've dealt with the limitations. We've recognized what it is that needs to get played out. And we've done that. And now it's about opening up the vision to what it is that's coming. What is it that's really calling to us, right? What's that fire inside us that has to be played out? So very, very powerful month. This is the first time of it. This channel comes up again and again through the month with different planets.
Very good.
Over to you.
Over to me. All right. So we'll move on now to the third quarter moon that happens on February 9th. So the third quarter moon, this follows the full moon. So the full moon brings the new cycle that started at the new moon and built up energy at the first quarter moon. And the full moon brings it into full light. So we can see the cycle, we can see what's needed, we can see what we're doing, we can make our choices, take our action. Now, as we come to the third quarter moon, February 9th, we're looking at integrating. So we've had realizations, we've had some breakthroughs, we've made some decisions, we've seen who's important in our life, we've understood that something very new is playing out, and hopefully we've made a decision about moving forward in alignment with the overall positive evolution of humanity. And as we've done that, now when we come to the third quarter moon, we're looking at, all right, so what else needs to be done? How can we bring this to either bring it to completion or bring it to further fulfillment? And how can we make it as useful? How can we put it out there in a way that where it can be as accessible as possible? So what we have at this third quarter moon, the moon in Scorpio, in this beautiful flowing trine with Jupiter, which is basically saying anything's possible, like you were saying, right? It's we're truly here to create, to co-create the spirit, and anything is possible. So it brings our awareness to this vital importance of the power of creation and co-creation. But one of the things that it also brings our awareness to, because remember, Jupiter is in Cancer, which is about the family and well-being of the family, is if we're living in a world where there are some of our brothers and sisters out there in the world who are not having their basic needs met, they don't have food, they don't have shelter, they don't have access to clean water or healthcare, then we haven't come to that place of one world, one people. We're not really firmly in the age of Aquarius yet. We essentially, as we go into the age of Aquarius, which is going to last for quite some time, and we're getting a big push into it here in 2026, we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing to make sure that every single person on the planet's basic needs are being met? We will not become an enlightened planet until that happens. So that's the next thing on the agenda, no small task. But we're up for it because we're here together. Together we can do this. So the sun, firmly in Aquarius, surrounded by the other planets in Aquarius, the humanitarian vision is on fire this month. And essentially what we're seeing with the sun forming this linking aspect with Chiron is that the solutions to the issues of today are clear. We see them, we see the solutions, what they could be. But the issue is, well, how are we going to put energy into making those solutions happen? How are we going to fund those solutions? Who's going to bring the energy to make that happen? So essentially, who said that, you can't solve today's problems with yesterday's solutions?
Right.
Was that Einstein?
Yeah.
Well, so we're in that catch-22. It's like we had the issues that we have that need to be addressed are 21st century issues. We're bending time. Does time really exist, or is it a construct? We're finding new ways to implement changes in business, in education, in medicine, in politics, please God, in And these new solutions all require our high creativity. So what the offering is ask, in your meditation, in your periods of going inside and getting to with your own truth, what is it that I can contribute? How can I make a contribution to bringing the light more and more into the planet? And every single one of us has the capacity to make a meaningful contribution. So finding out what is that? What is my contribution? The other thing that's happening at this period of time, as we get into around 9-10 February, is Saturn is moving out of Pisces, where it's been for 2.5 years, where there's been a lot of belly aching, and it's moving into Aries, where there's going to be a lot of, okay, enough with the belly aching, let's get on with the solutions. So Saturn's going to join Neptune here mid-February, February 14th, 15th, in the sign of Aries, and the possibility of implementing and getting those solutions in place in our personal lives and on a societal level, on a tribal level, on a global level, are very, very powerful right now. So that's what I see with this third quarter moon.
So looking again at the human design wheel, we come to the 13th of the month, and the sun goes into gateway number 30. So again, this is the 30th gateway, the gateway of desire showing up again. It's creating a channel with Pluto, the 4130, this channel of the vision, right? So the sun is really highlighting what is it that we're really chasing after? What is it that holds our attention enough that we are drawn to want to go into that experience and have that experience and jump through it and complete it, wrap it up. So this goes on until the 18th of the month. Come the 17th of the month, we have a new moon. And this new moon, again, in a very interesting part of the sky for us. It's in the gate 30, right? This gate of desires, this gate of what is it that really compels me to want to complete something here. And there's an expression like the more a challenge is difficult for you, and the more you cope with that challenge and you go through that challenge, then there's such a sense of growth in your life. It may be feeling really unpleasant to have to deal with such a challenge. But the fifth line necessarily has this ability to see the other side of a challenge. It can see a challenge coming, it can see what's involved in it, but it can also see how to deal with it, how to come out the other side. The fifth line with the 30th gateway is called heart's ease, acknowledging that embracing adversity enriches your life. And I guess all of us can see that sometimes. The bigger the challenge, and when we come out the other side of it, what an amazing achievement that is. And that we can really appreciate and really celebrate that. I often wonder about this, why do we not spend more time celebrating? Why is life such a challenge and we can't see the other side of it? Why can't we come out of it? And we really are in a time of massive transformation. We can worry as much as we like about what's coming. In fact, a lot of good that's going to do us. But the moment we start seeing, all right, there's a challenge. Here's me. Here's how engaging it can be for me. And here's it coming out the other side of it all. Can I take pause? Can I really appreciate that jumping through the fire, that 30th gateway, jumping through the clinging fire and coming out the other side of it, it's like done, amazing. Wow, I thought that was such a big deal, and now I feel so refreshed. In India, they do these fire ceremonies all the time, these pujas, like clearing. And that's what it is. We're in this time, in this month of clearing the board. What are the essential things for us? Have you ever done a vision board, where you put all kinds of pictures on it? These are the things I'd really like to draw into my life. That's what the month of February is all about, is actually recognizing what these things are and going for it. Counting the ones that are essential, dismissing the ones that actually they're not that important to me. They were at one point, but not so much anymore. But the ones that do show up as important, go for it. Absolutely go for it. We come to the 16th of the month, we enter into this life thing we call diligence. We can be really, really busy at that time. A lot of things going on. So the new moon comes right after that, and just seeing time to make a big jump, time to do something really substantial for ourselves in our life.
And this new moon that happens on February 17th also happens to be a solar eclipse. So new moon solar eclipse at 28 degrees of Aquarius. Very significant that it's happening at this degree because, again, it's a pivotal turning point. And all eclipses bring significant changes. We've got solar eclipses that bring changes more to the essence, to the inner realization, the inner world. And then we've got lunar eclipses that will bring changes more into how we're doing things or how we're experiencing life. So we have first the solar eclipse on February 17th, and then tune in with us again next month because we're going to have a lunar eclipse on March 3rd. We'll be talking about that in our next broadcast. But eclipses happen in pairs. So this one, the solar eclipse on the 17th, it's a powerful new beginning, new start. And the new start has the sun and the moon together at 28 degrees of Aquarius in a right angle, which is a very dynamic aspect, with Uranus, the planet of awakening to higher states of consciousness. Uranus, the planet that shakes up our status quo and says, hey, heads up, take a look, something really different playing here. Uranus, the awakener, in the sign of Taurus, giving us an opportunity, catalyzing our awareness to see that the kind of systemic change that maybe it's uncomfortable being in the middle of all this change of all the systems, but essentially what it's going to bring us is greater freedom. So this eclipse is going to be a point in time when there's a possibility of recognizing, yeah, we are really in a different world. We really are in a different age. All of humanity, we've arrived. Then on the next day, on the 18th, the sun leaves the sign of Aquarius and goes into the sign of Pisces. So now for the remainder of the month, the sun in Pisces. So while it's been in Aquarius up until the 18th, it's giving us ideas, breakthroughs, mental awareness, bringing people together, bringing ideas together, bringing possibilities together. When it goes into Pisces now, we really can move into the dream. What is it, heart and soul, that we want to birth? And there's some beautiful aspects around this new moon, which one of them is Jupiter, again, in the sign of Cancer, that home and family, in a beautiful flowing triangle with Mercury, which is the planet of communication, in Pisces. So what we see with this is there's a big vision coming for long-term stability and long-term well-being. And that big vision is beginning to emerge. What we're learning is that persistence, really staying with it and staying with our truth and being persistent and consistent with it, brings its rewards. So this is the first point in which we begin to see what the reward of all this work we've been doing, all this consciousness, all this awakening work, all this healing work, all this meditation. What are we doing all this for? It's to awaken ourselves to the joy that's within us, to the creativity that's within us. Saturn and Neptune form an exact conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries. So we're in a new start again. But this is going to bring practical, really effective action that are inspired by our spiritual awareness. And the other aspect that happens around the solar eclipse, this new moon, setting a new stage, is that the planet Mars, which has to do with our work in the world, is in this linking aspect with Chiron, this very positive aspect. So now we realize it's time to begin implementing all these changes. Changes in how we're doing business or how we're engaging in business. Changes in our finances, in the whole financial system, perhaps, or the way we're engaging with those. Changes in commerce. How do we do trade? changes in communication. How do we up level? So we're going to see this be a very, very powerful time mid-February and throughout the end of what in the Northern Hemisphere will be the winter season and into the beginning of the spring season. Very powerful, catalytic time. And again, we're not finished yet. We're going to take you through a little bit more of February, but I want to just emphasize again, tune in next month because we'll talk about the other eclipse, the lunar eclipse that happens on March 3rd. And remember, these eclipses happen in pairs. So they're sort of talking to each other. They're working together.
Come the 18th of the month, the sun goes into gateway number 55, the gateway of spirit, the gateway of abundance. Out of all the 64 hexagrams, I always see the 55th gateway as the least reasonable gate. It has a hard time. Spirit has a tough time being in 3D here, being in the solid dimension. But nevertheless, the sun goes in there and it highlights our spirited nature. And at the same time, there's a very interesting thing that takes place is Mars now goes into gateway number 30, Pluto's in the 41. So Mars very much our actions, the 30th gateway, as I say, the gateway of desires. What are the things that are in our awareness that somehow there's just this pull to want to live them out. So if you've had a hesitation earlier in the months to live out some of your vision, to actually plot something in your life according to your vision, come the 22nd of the month, then Mars is going to do it for you. It's just going to say it's now or never. And it goes all the way through the end of the months, this possibility to literally set it in motion, set the vision in motion. To me, it's an extraordinary thing. I mean, every 250 years, Pluto will go into the 41 and just say, look, here's the absolute root of rearrangement in life. There's a whole new vision is possible. Because Pluto literally takes out whatever's been going on before, eradicates it, and puts in place, right, let's start from ground zero here. Let's get a whole new thing going.
It's a renaissance.
Indeed it is. So we're all being called to do that. And as the spirit opens up for us, and the same energy of Mars and Pluto interacting together. I mean, Mars and Pluto are a pretty strong combination, I'd say. The Pluto is perhaps a higher quality of the Mars energy of really actively bringing about change. So we look around the world and we see, governments are really having a tough time persuading us that they're doing a good job. That many citizens in their own countries are being questioned and harassed and even killed. And really, there has to be something very, very different that takes place here. I'm saying it's okay to join a mob, it's okay to join a demonstration of some sort, but there's no point in getting violent. It's about holding the space more than anything else. It's about being present in oneself in a state of conscious awareness more than anything else. And I know you'll say, oh, nothing's ever going to happen by sitting quietly and doing nothing on, contemplating a navel. But it is that thing. We are in a state of changing consciousness. And part of this consciousness is having a vision for where life wants to take us. Right? So just tuning into that. Where does life actually want to take us? It wants to take us into the Aquarian age, this age of peace and prosperity. How are we going to get there? Are we going to get there through fighting? Or are we going to get there through being conscious and aware and present and being really, really clear in ourselves? When to commit ourselves, when not. To me, the troubles always come when we react. We react because we go back into an old pattern, whether it's our own pattern or somebody's pattern we borrowed from somebody else. Right? This is the way things are done in this situation. Instead of being conscious and present and aware of whatever it is the circumstance is. Saturn and Neptune conjoin exactly on the 30th of the month. And this is the 25th gateway, the gateway of innocence, and it's the third line. So every time we have a third line, there's always some kind of experimentation or there's something novel that takes place there. There's always a kind of bit of a risk with third lines. It's always trying out new possibilities. And the third line with the 25 is called adjusting, accepting unexpected events with equanimity. What is it that throws us off course? What is it that unbalances us? The 25 is the gate of innocence. In our core, we are all innocent. We're playing a very apparently complicated game called life. You know, all kinds of things go on in our world, all kinds of things are ready to rattle us. But the ultimate game is always to find what is our innocent nature in all of this? What is our true presence here? And so Saturn, pretty much I could describe it as the discipline that we hold for ourselves. It might be the karma that we're here to live out. And karma builds on itself every time we react. Every time we go back into an old habit, nothing gets resolved. And then Saturn takes its time, comes back around again and presents the same challenge in a different form another time. So the moment we get over the reaction, dropping back into the habit, copying other people's ways of doing stuff, the moment we get over that and we find our own inner calling to engage. And Neptune's holding this very high and bright possibility. Neptune is love for love's sake. Love is the only game in town. It's the only thing happening in this universe. It's just in 3D here on this planet. We're exploring, how to engage love in a three-dimensional process. And there it is. The moment we find that love, there is no question of reacting. We're in a state of true presence in life. So just to really make a point of that in all of this vision that is being offered to us during the month of February. Bottom line, no need to react, right? Be present, be available, be conscious, be aware as much as possible and see what comes about. The sun in the 55 I was talking about opens up this life theme we call the sleeping phoenix. Everyone I've met who's born in this sleeping phoenix life theme, they're years ahead. It's a very Aquarian kind of thing. They're years ahead. They're kind of seeing all kinds of different possibilities for life. They're bridging that possibility of getting out of the old into the new. Consciousness is what the game is now. And humanity has arrived with that possibility of really embracing a high level of consciousness. As to what the technology does, maybe it's going to help us get there even closer and even easier. But the conscious appreciation that we have in our own life is the most important thing. So living through our spirit nature, living in this place of abundance, internal abundance. 55 is the gate, I was saying, the least reasonable of all the hexagrams in the I Ching. It's okay to be unreasonable, right? It's okay. It's okay to embrace our spirit nature, to just suddenly feel like dancing if we do, or singing, or walking through nature and exulting like everything else in nature is doing. Just really re-engaging with that side of our life again.
I don't know there's a whole lot I could add to that, because looking at the aspects as I see them through the astrological wheel, the conversation is so much the same, but I'll just bring a bit of a different take on it. And we'll be back with you anyway. On our next broadcast will be February 21st, and we'll take you through the remainder of February. Into that time in early March, we'll talk about the next eclipse coming up, etc., and take you all the way through the month of March. But for now, just looking at, as we're winding up, going into the latter part of February, we've had this new moon, solar eclipse, and it's like we're in a new beginning, a new possibility. And is it smooth and is it easy? Not necessarily. It's a little bit like, if you were to engage in a remodeling project, you're going to remodel your home. Well, a remodeling project often begins with a wrecking crew, right? It comes in and just wrecks the old structure, because the old structure's got to go so that something new can be built, something new can be birthed. So that's a little bit like what's been going on in our world, which can be seen as unsettling when we don't see the big picture. When all we see is, oh, gee, things are falling apart. We don't see how the new is coming together. So when we can see that, when we allow ourselves to tune in, to go into our inner wisdom, to be inspired by spirit, then what happens? And we've got aspects that are supporting this here at the first quarter moon in Gemini on February 24th. We've got the moon in Gemini in this beautiful triangle with Pluto on this first quarter moon thing, let's bring a plethora of new ideas to provide solutions to the long-standing issues that we've been dealing with for maybe decades now. So all these new ideas now bubbling, coming to the surface, we're seeing the sense of possibility is profound. Mars, you were mentioning Mars and Pluto. Mars is about our action in the world. Pluto is about transformation. Mars continues to be creative with this aspect with Chiron, saying, let's heal, let's take it up a level. But it also continues in this right angle with Uranus. And there's the wrecking ball. There's the wrecking crew. There's some things that just have to go. Can we let go with grace? That's the question. And when we do let go with grace, then what happens? Now we're stepping into this beautiful triangle flowing energy with Venus and Mercury in Pisces, trining Jupiter in Cancer. We're saying with this aspect, the potential is that we're taking inspired action. And inspired action takes place when our values are aligned. So in other words, when we're doing things for a reason, and that reason is in alignment with our values. That's the remodeling project that all of us are going through right now.
Remodeling, yes,
Yes.
indeed.
Yes. Powerful month, catalyzing month, February into early March. Big change. We're leaving behind one world and stepping into a whole new world, a new way of seeing life.
Great time to be alive.
Yes, and to be creating. So that's what we have to say about that.
We'll see you next month.
Yes, I'll be back with you again, as always, with an update on the energies as they're moving next month. Meanwhile, do take a look, go to our website, evolutionaryhumandesign.com, and take a look at these two programs, the Business Success Program, see if that's calling to you, and the Love Destiny Karma Clearing, which is a very powerful catalyzing energy for healing and awakening.
Evolutionize your life. Bye for
See you
now.
next month.